Hello everyone, I am Renowned Zero, and today we're going to be talking about the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power actor Ismael Cruz. Cordova says he's the victim of threats and racism. He provides no evidence. As usual, the actors in Hollywood always say this, and they almost never provide evidence. So we'll jump into this article from Bounding into Comics here. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power actor Ismael Cruz Cordova, who infamously undercut Prime Video's representation narrative that was used to justify race swapping in the series, recently claimed he's the victim of racism and threats, albeit he provided no evidence to support the claim. Now, I'm sure, let me get this out of the way, I'm sure there are people that do that because there are still crappy people on the internet, and I'm sure there are people that have done that. However, if you're going to make these egregious claims, you're going to make claims like this, at least provide evidence of such. As they did this with the actress that played Reva, saying that she got these type of threats, and it was like 3 people, and they weren't even really threats. Like, I've seen worse. In an FYC event in Hollywood to promote the Prime Video series, Cordova discussed his role as Aragorn, saying, "I had a lifetime of preparation for this role, and I've been fighting for an opportunity like this one for so long." Yeah, you've had a lifetime of preparation for an original character that was not a part of Lord of the Rings, as far as I'm aware, and you want it to be a race swapped character. So you essentially prepared for a tokenized character. You essentially took away a job from a white person who wanted to play a character based on a race from a book written by Tolkien where the elves are white. That makes sense. I've been wanting to play an elf for around 20 years, a dream that came with a lot of naysayers along the way. He then asserted by the time we started shooting, I had already faced a year of backlash. Yeah, you would face backlash because Tolkien fans are passionate and they realize that you're not an elf. You don't look like an elf. And you're essentially playing a role that has been written out, that people have visualized. It's going to happen. A lot of negativity, threats, racism, all that. Where's the proof? I knew going in that I would have to be bulletproof to prove all of these people that I belong there. Fast forward to season 2, the love and support were concrete. I still get emotional thinking about it. The impact that it had was no longer in a vacuum. The impact that the show had was to show that Amazon doesn't know what the fuck they're doing with Lord of the Rings, and they decided to make a shitty show. I had thousands of hands holding me and pushing me. I knew in the abstract what I was doing before, but now I know the faces of those I did and still do it for. You don't really do it for anybody but yourself. Now I feel more galvanized and like I finally have a break from having to constantly prove that I belong. I've always known that I belong, and now I feel like I can soar. Yes, you can absolutely belong to the Lord of the Rings fandom, but to sit here and act like you felt like you should play this role for so long, you prepared for this role, yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit. You prepared yourself to essentially play a tokenized version of a character. Congratulations. You would rather do that than play an original black character. Shocker from people in Hollywood. Cordova previously made similar claims in an interview with Esquire back in September, right before the Rings of Power aired its first episode. He told the outlet that he's received pure and vicious hate speech I don't like, speech I don't agree with, in his DMs for 2 years. Never showed any evidence to the contrary. He added, quote, I fought so hard for this role for this very reason. I felt that I could carry that torch. I made sure that my elf was the most elven, the most incredible, because I knew this was coming. You're not the most elven because the elves are not black, so that doesn't make sense. I knew that I would have the eyes of the world on me, he relayed. I needed to be undeniable and to be the most elven elf that I could be. I needed my soul to shine through, too. Interestingly, before he started making claims that he was a victim of racism and hate speech, he infamously blew up Prime Video's entire narrative surrounding the justification of race swapping numerous characters in the series. Back in February 2022, executive producer Lindsay Weber told Vanity Fair, quote, "It felt only natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like. That's literally not what this is, should be, or ever should be. If you're going to make a show about a book written by someone, you should try to adapt that rather than putting your own spin on it and thinking everyone's going to like that, which they didn't. Tolkien is for everyone. No one ever said it wasn't. His stories are about his fictional races doing their best work when they leave the isolation of their own cultures and come together. Yeah, no shit. Actress Sophia Nomvet, who plays Princess Disa in the series, told PA Media at San Diego Comic-Con, "We are redressing the balance within the film and television industry, and of course, this franchise, and I hope lots of franchises moving forward." So essentially, you want to take something that is established and put your own spin on it and think that's going to make it better. You being a diversity hire for a world built by Tolkien is somehow going to make the franchise better, and you think other franchises do the same thing. Yeah. Look at the Super Mario Brothers movie. Made close to $1.3 billion. No diversity there as far as changing out characters, like making Mario black or something. Yes, they had a diverse voice cast, but they didn't race swap a character who was Italian to black or something, and it's still better than this piece of shit show. The original Lord of the Rings movies are still better than this piece of shit show, without doing any of this nonsense that you claim that television and movies should do moving forward. These are the best people for the roles. I doubt it. But what they've done is open up the doors for people of all backgrounds to come forward and have the opportunity to rise. Yes, rise and do your own thing, not rise and try to bastardize something that is not yours. A work that is not yours. She continued. She would go on to assert to be the poster child and to fly the flag, being a mother, being a woman, being a person of color. Yeah, because a person of color, that's what you want to be. Being a curvaceous woman deemed as a thing of beauty, you're not, is something we don't always see. So that image of Disa, that is all of those things personified in a face, and it happens to be my face. Yes, you're a tokenized version of a dwarf. Congratulations. You're retarded. Cordova blew up his obviously false narrative in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, where he revealed he wanted to be an elf since I was a little kid. In fact, EW detailed that Cordova recalled pretending to be an elf and using an imaginary bow. Clearly, Cordova had no problems pretending to be an elf, despite seemingly never seeing an elf that looked exactly like him. This flies in the face of the entire representation narrative sprouted by people like Lindsay Weber, Sophia Nomvet, and even Cordova, where they claim people can't fully immerse themselves in a piece of fiction unless characters look nearly exactly like them, whether they're based on skin color or sex. This is the exact same thing with that weirdo who was crying about seeing a black Aragorn on a Magic the Gathering card. He's like, I can finally see myself. It's like, this is what we've been waiting for? So you've been waiting to be tokenized? You've been waiting to essentially take the sloppy seconds of a white character? Yeah. So apparently you were never a fan of Lord of the Rings if you needed Aragorn to be black in order to see yourself in Aragorn. What a world. And that's something that's taught, by the way. Nevertheless, Cordova's recent comments appear to confirm that despite Prime Video reportedly losing 63% of its domestic audience, the studio and marketing team will continue to push identity politics and make accusations of isms against Tolkien fans in order to prop up the series despite its flagging viewership throughout the first season. So, you were able to like the series as a kid, pretend to be an elf. Something you were not. Something that you did not look like. But all of a sudden now it's like you have to be this thing where, oh yeah, I am the elviest of elves, even though I don't look like an elf. I'm not looking like the elf that was described in Tolkien's work, but somehow now all of a sudden it's I'm the black elf and racism because I'm the black elf. It's like, dude, you are given the privilege to be a part of a world that Tolkien built in which you are a tokenized elf. You were given the privilege to be a part of that. But for you to sit here and say, oh, now they can see themselves and now I am this and that, it's like, Only thing you're doing is taking the sloppy seconds of someone else that could have played this role, who probably would have been better at it and actually looked like the character that was portrayed in the books. You could have found an original Black story and played that instead, but instead you felt you wanted to hijack an established lore that people knew, and because fans of Tolkien didn't like the fact that you are portraying an elf, something that they do not, they can physically read and see that elves are not black, somehow that's wrong. I understand it's not okay for people to send threats, but at the same time, if you're going to accuse people of sending threats to you, at the very least, show the evidence. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers. We are pushing towards monetization. I just need to hit the 1,000 subscribers. I'm hoping to hit it by the end of this year. If you do like the video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Comment below what your feelings about all this are. Hit the bell for notifications. Set the bell to all. That way you get notifications anytime I post a new video. And I will see you all on the next one. Peace.